Luke Gilbert, of course, has won a pro event now. Fantastic, talented player. I think Phil's got something wrong with one of his feet, but it looks like he's got a special shoe on there.
Yeah, that doesn't help.
So he didn't look he was limping when he came to the tile. I don't know what he's done. But have to inquire. But yeah, we are. Look, he must have dropped something on a foot or broke a metatarsal or something. But
well, you know what a pool's like. You pick up a lot of those kind of sports injuries.
Yeah, unless it's a new fashion from the farmer.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to be ideal actually, because 3-day tournament this, so you could be on your feet for quite a long time if you're making head row. Luke Gilbert, one of the best up-and-coming players, as you say, now got a pro title as well, beating Declan Brennan earlier in the season.
Well, he might help Phil out here by dishing these up, because that'll keep him sat in his seat, resting his foot.
On paper, this is a group that both of these two are kind of fancy having reasonably smooth progress through. They're currently sitting at 2 and 3 in the standings. Phil Harrison's beaten Peter Maloney 6-3 to get things underway. Then Luke Gilbert beat Sean Sharkey 6-4. So just one more win on the board would get them pretty close to those qualifying spots. Making this look pretty easy so far.
Nicely done from Gilbert.
His opponent, also a man with a very big trophy cabinet. Well, you can see from the way he's walking around the table, it's slightly laboured, unsurprisingly limping a bit with that boot on.
Yep, what you call a sniper's nightmare.
Extension called.
And although we slightly joke about it, it's going to be a factor in this tournament, both being on his feet for a long time and needing to play under the shot clock. At the moment, it's not going to be too much of a factor, because this whole match is going to be played in a 30-second shot clock.
Well, imagine if he gets to the knockout stage and the 6 red shootout comes in. Then it will be an issue, wouldn't it?
Try and get the match won before that. Yeah, I mean, it totally will, because, and also the 15-second shot clock at the end of the knockout matches.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be too much of a factor in this match. It won't be quite so rushed. These two obviously know each other's games inside out. Not that knowing Phil's game helps very much. The basic piece of information is that he's a very good player. So just got to put up a good standard of play yourself. A bit more willing than some of the younger players to get involved in a tactical battle, Phil Harrison, but also likes to get on with it when he gets an open chance. Not sure we're going to get many long tactical frames, but just the way the balls have gone at the beginning of this one. You're always a fan of a tactical game, Tony, so I'm sure you're rooting for a few more of these.
Yeah, love it. That's a great shot. Harris has played there, cannon off both those balls to pot the red in the middle and bring them both off the rail.
And with that good opening shot, he's got the balls at his mercy now. So a very one-sided first game today. Tom Cousins beating slightly out of sorts Callum Singleton, although largely that was down to Tom, not down to Callum. Since then though, there's been quite a few tight matches, none more so than that last one where John Rowe looked like he was about to get over the line of the decider and then just angled himself on the last ball. This one, on paper, you wouldn't have much between the players. Well, I don't look entirely comfortable getting around the table, but it looks pretty good when he's down on a shot.
Yeah, it's not hampering his cueing, is it? But like you say though, Mark, you know, once you start getting to the fourth and fifth matches and you've been playing a long time, you know, it's going to take its toll. It has to.
And especially as you were rightly saying earlier on, like, people are going to have very misaligned incentives. Some people might already be through and not trying so hard, others are desperately going to be battling. Right now, though, the second game for both of these players, and they won their first one, so life is seeming reasonably relaxed right now.
Well, they're probably looking at this match against each other and think this is both of their hardest game, if you like, against each other. Sean Sharkey, he's in the mix. He's a great player. But he's done his first season as a pro. Peter Mullaney, another pro. But he's already been beaten once. So you kind of think that these two are playing each other thinking, well, it's not the end of the day whoever loses, because they're going to come back and still have games that they're going to fancy winning yet to play.
Bit of the luck of the draw, obviously, and where your games fall. Some people have got games nicely spaced out through the day, some got long breaks and then a run of games. Quite a logistical organisational exercise this, having 16 groups with 6 in play at the same time.
Yeah, I think was it Josh Kane? I think I saw him and he played 2 and he said he had about a 4 or 5 hour break before he plays another one.
I mean, that's kind of ideal, I guess, if you could script it. He's got a couple of wins early on and then a bit of a gap.
Yeah, but that's it. You can go out and get lunch, and go back to his hotel, have a freshen up for a bit, chill out, watch a bit of telly in the afternoon. But Home's under the hammer, is it? Or no, is that too early? Too early for that one.
We'll be watching the pool.
Yeah, exactly.
His opponent in that match we saw earlier, Christophe Lambert, will be having a less relaxed lunch break, I suspect. Losing his first two matches of the tournament.
Yeah, tremendous double that Kane pulled out at the end to win that. Yeah, so that's probably the first player, one of the top players, that's all of a sudden got the old the warning lights flashing a little bit for Christophe. Lovely little controlled shot there from Harrison. Squeezing the yellow in. Bit of side on the cue ball. Just pops this back now. Black in the centre. And Gilbert's been punished to the max.
It's been a strong start from both players.
I was about to say, as Phil strides back to his chair, but it's not quite accurate, is it?
Hobbles back to his chair. Oh, crunching break, almost found the middle pocket, but actually turned out pretty well, given he could have ended up going in off. A bit lucky there. If that ball goes in the centre, Lee's got ball in hand, the frame is all over. Both balls are reasonably well situated, but because of that red tied up on the right hand side, the yellows would seem the favourite.
Yellow balls in play.
See, with that bad foot, I'm going to go back to it again. It's his left foot, so when you're actually cueing down, you balance. You're going to stay down longer because you're not going to spring up to move if you were moving, because you're going to be in pain. So you're actually going to stay down on your cue longer.
Yeah, in a strange sort of way, there's probably a relief to getting down to the table.
Oh no.
We're going to analyse this to the nth degree. He's probably going to tell us afterwards that his foot's not even that bad and he's barely noticing it. Wow, we saw a ball like that in the last match, just hanging on the lip of the pocket and then did fall in.
Little smile there from Luke. He was probably half out of his chair there.
Just one more shot to play here. Just come round for the ball in the same pocket, I was going to say, but it's just clipped that red, which is not what he wanted to do.
He's got to play a cut now across into the bottom left-hand corner.
He got caught between two shots there. He was trying to miss the.
He's coming back. That's not going to go. Well.
It was a bit careless. I mean, that was a shot that could go wrong. He could have alternatively opted to play a cannon on the red when he slipped out of position, but he was trying to just come past it. A bit of an unexpected chance this for Luke. There was that moment when he almost leapt up when it looked like the ball had been missed at the top of the table, but I don't think he'd seriously been expecting to come back. They played the best opening shot. He may have to bail out of this and play a safety now. Imperative he gets the white right over to the right hand side cushion if he plays this. He can't afford to leave this as an easy swerve. I think he has left it in a position you could try to bend through that gap.
I don't think he's got the angle to come off the side cushion with a load of seats. He's having a look there, but to generate that much shot, I think you'd have to play onto the top rail first to actually come that way. So I think he's going to play the bend around the red.
It always looked like he was aiming a little bit narrow. It looked like he needed to be sort of aiming at the red that he was being snookered.
It needed to hit it harder. You need to get it past the red before it spun, and it's just turned a bit too quick. And this red obviously goes in off the yellow for Luke. Uh-oh. Well, he wasn't expecting that.
No, I mean, he's in great shape still in this frame, but that's annoying because it should have been a simple clearance. May have to just play another containing safety. May have left just a wafer thin edge of this yellow, but the issue for Phil is that any kind of contact on the yellow is going to open the red up, isn't going to pot the yellow.
Yeah, he's not in an ideal position here, so he's going to have to try and think of something. He's looking at the yellow going off the red into that middle pocket. So he's going to try and come off the bottom rail and cut it. Oh, and he's used his extension, so he needs to be, well, he's hit it.
Well, that's an example of he can move quickly if he needs to.
Yeah.
He wants to be doing that too often, though. There's nowhere really that he could leave it on the table. It wasn't going to leave some kind of shot.
No.
Now let Gilbert back in prime position. Just slight signs of nerve from Luke. Just a couple of shots just didn't seem to get quite as smoothly through as you would have expected. Still fine, obviously this clearance isn't going to be a problem. So a frame that could have gone either way. I think Gilbert takes it to level up. Yeah, it would take something very surprising. As we were saying earlier, it does matter where in the table you finish, even though you would expect them both to qualify.
Yeah, neither of these players have bad days at the office for too long or long enough for somebody, and it would take more than one. They've got to lose 2 or 3 matches. You just cannot see it. They've already got one on the board each anyway, and someone's winning this one, so they're on 2. So You just can't see it. Whoever loses is going to have to lose every match.
Yeah, I mean, actually, yeah, as you rightly say, both of these are guys that are quite consistent. Some players who are maybe more streaky, this format could catch them out. I don't think these are two that you'd expect to have a problem.
Nah. Long yellow into the bottom left now for Gilbert. And that will be pretty much job done in this frame.
Such a consistent cueist. A shot like that, you just can't imagine where a miss would come from.
That's classy. Classy cueist is Luke Gilbert. Harrison to break us off. Frame number 6 in a race to 6. And he'll like the look of those.
You won't know it from his body language because he rarely looks like he likes the look of the table, but I think deep down he'll be happy with it.
He's a kidder. Is Phil.
Extension call.
30-second shot clock throughout the match with 1 15-second extension per frame, which is what he's just called for. He was always playing that shot first, so the time was just spent looking at the pattern after that. Tells you that the lower of the two reds at the top of the table get passes to the left centre, which is helpful because there's a natural pocket for that red, and it's also an easier positional shot than the red that's to the left of the cue ball on the break line being able to hold for.
Yeah, these are pretty much done. He plays the red into the centre. It's the red at the top. He's just got to make sure he gets a nice little angle, and if you can pop that one away and get in the middle of the table, the frame's done. Well, that wasn't popped in, it was splattered in, but the same result.
Yeah, I didn't think he necessarily needed to do that, but it was a good chance to. He was guaranteed to be on the next ball. It's just made things a little bit easier now.
We get a few tight matches, aren't we, on LT now? After Tom Cousins came on initially and won 6-0, there's been some, well, we've had a couple of 6-5s now, and there was a 6-4.
Yeah, I mean, they've all been matches where you would have struggled to call a winner at the beginning, but still, that's not to say that it's necessarily going to turn into a tight one. It just happens to have worked out like that. Could play these balls in either order, but it's an easier positional shot onto the 8 ball, leaving the one to the middle last. And that is close to perfect, just a natural angle to drift over to the left-hand side. This has been very good from both players. 6 frames played, still nothing to choose between them.
But then that dramatic final frame when Jack had it, threw it away, gave it to John, and John angled himself in the middle bag. And Jack eventually got over the line.
At least when you win, though, you've got the chance to carry on and improve. Jack's often quite critical of his own play. He's such a good player that anything less than perfection, I think he finds a bit frustrating at times. That's turned out pretty well. being dead straight on that yellow is helpful. That flick hasn't hurt either. The only ball that could be a bit tricky to get on is the yellow on the left-hand side. Although it's not a difficult shot, it's one of those ones that you're not guaranteed position. Possibly playing a choice of shots there. If it had gone past that red, I would have had the other yellow to the middle. I have to go the other way now. It's not going to be as easy to get from the final yellow to the 8 ball.
Well, leaving himself the cut into the bottom left. That's all he could do. Very tidy once again from Luke Gilbert as he edges himself out in front 4-3.
Don't need much out of the remaining 3 games. It just takes the pressure off the rest of the day. Oh, Phil's got a bit loose with the cue ball again there, but ultimately saved. A couple of other balls played goalkeeper. Could easily have ended up, well, he was ending up straight in the right centre if he hadn't got kicked out of the way. It's a decent layout, this. Just a couple of slightly awkward balls.
Extension call.
He's used his extension, so he has to get down and play a shot now. Not quite what he was looking for. Wanted to just come past that yellow for the access to the red up the right rail. Still got a couple of shots on, but now going to have to slightly reroute. This red may just squeeze past the yellow. May have to play it off the cushion and off the yellow. Well, sort of got between the 2 shots. It's hit it clean, but as a result, it hasn't dropped.
Don't know whether he could play the loss of turn shot and screw the cue ball over by the black. He's trying to put it behind the yellow. Has he gone far enough?
That's a pretty decent shot from where he is.
I'd rather if he had he must have had some sort of angle he could screw it over just towards that black leg, because I think if you go far enough, you're leaving an incredibly tough pot if you don't get the snooker.
Oh, it potted to that corner, which made it easier. He may have had to cut it back to the other corner. Well, this has turned back into a good chance for Phil. Now he can go either way here. Ideally, he probably doesn't want the ball up the rail last, but may just have to commit to that. It's always easy enough to get over for it there. The question is the next positional shot. Just looking at whether that red goes to the bottom left. If it does, that would make life quite a lot easier. You can just kill the cue ball where it is. Otherwise, he's going to have to screw back for it in the centre. Yeah, the fact this does go, actually, that finish wasn't quite as difficult as it look like it might be.
Yeah, he's got pretty good angle as well, just to run the cue ball through for the black. Let's just make sure of the pot. Going level once again.
Well, there wasn't anything to choose between the players before the game. There hasn't been anything to choose between the players as the game's gone on.
And I'll tell you what a fantastic cue action for 9 years old. He's going to be an absolute superstar in years to come, I'm sure. He was knocking him in length of the table. Just need to remember to go and get the rest when he can't reach properly, because he's dead to try and stretch over, and that's the only time he really misses, when he couldn't be bothered to run over and get the rest. But yeah, that's one for the future, definitely.
Yeah, unexpected chance to get to play in this tournament. He's obviously not going to have high expectations, but actually, I mean, he is a decent player. He's not just here because Liam's his dad. He can play as well. So it could be a tough match for a few people.
I wouldn't want to play him.
Well, there is the added pressure as well.
I wouldn't want to play you.
I should hope not.
No, it would. Yeah, I mean, if you stood there and your opponent comes over and you can barely see over the table, you think, what's going on here? And then the frightening bit is he starts knocking him in length of the table. The long pots are screwing a cue ball round the two. You think, well, all right then. Well, somebody's on a wind up here.
I mean, he's reasonably well known here because he plays here a bit, and his dad's posted quite a few videos over the last few months. If you didn't know him before, you'll have got the gist that he can play a bit. Nice storyline. It's a sort of nice little addition to the tournament. Probably won't ultimately change the result, but will make for some entertaining moments along the way.
It's one of those things we'll be talking about that in a few years' time when he's playing as a professional. So do you remember when he was 9 years old playing at Newcastle? Yeah.
Meanwhile, Luke's kind of run out of time there and ended up not playing the best of shots. Although it's had a bit of a result really from where he was. Phil's got a fair bit of time here, of course, because where that 8 ball is, it's not like Liam's in a good position for any kind of quick clearance, even if Phil was to turn the table over.
And he's just pushed his own red behind that yellow now on the rail, which he sort of looked quite dejected as he did it.
Yeah, I think this probably goes down as a genuine head shake, not just one of those ones when he's in prime position. Not far away from being able to clip the ball that's closest to the cue ball up into the corner, and then he could cannon the other one out. He may still be able to play this shot. Just couldn't quite get as big a contact as he wanted on the second ball. He's loosened it up enough that it does pop though. In fact, he may look to play that red that's above the yellow. If it goes down the line and can be played into the plant of the 8 ball and red together, that might be one way of opening things up.
I think that's where he tried to get to, Mark, because it would go down, and if he could play that plant half ball into the black, it pushes the black away and opens the pocket up for the second red as well. So he's a little bit annoyed with himself there, because he did try and genuinely get that cue ball back to play that shot that you called.
There is an attacking shot here where he can play the cue ball into the plant now, but he'd be really trusting to luck where the white would end up afterwards. Don't think he's going to play that.
Well, he was running out of time.
Yeah, time has been a factor in a couple of shots in this match. We've seen him have to get down and rush something. This is an awkward spot for Luke. He's got a yellow tied up as well as the 8 ball tied up. He needs to do something positive. I don't necessarily mean make a clearance, but he's got to change the dynamic of this table. Not bad. Just does Phil just play an immediate loss of turn?
Yeah,
here?
if you can get the cue ball to go into that yellow and just pot the yellow when he comes the cue ball off the red, not the yellow, and try and get the cue ball behind the black. Played a loss of turn and leave Luke in a pretty nasty position down here. Wanted to come a little bit further and glue him to it, but it's okay.
Yeah, this is tough for Luke. You can see the one yellow, but that doesn't really help. And even if he was to make the first ball, he's still got that one tied up on the right-hand side. Kind of forced into going for that, because what else was he going to play, really, that didn't leave some kind of shot on? It's actually not turned out too bad, all things considered. Knew that if he got the white over towards the right hand side, he wasn't going to leave an easy starter.
Does he go, or does he try and put the cue ball behind the black? I think that's a great shot. Oh, he's gone a little bit too far. He left the yellow up the rail.
Yeah, I mean, what a fine margin there. That was almost a brilliant shot. Went for the percentage play. He has left this yellow, but it's hardly an attractive position.
Well, there's a nice opening now for Harrison. Luke Gilbert forced into playing that long yellow that he didn't want to. And not only that, he had to play it at pace because he couldn't just drop it in because he was snookered on both of his balls. And now Harrison has carved himself out an opening. It's probably better now, because if he had glued it behind the black, apart from getting cue ball in hand, if Luke doesn't hit one, that yellow would have still been stuck there in the way.
Yeah, sometimes the way, isn't it? You'd rather your opponent had a difficult shot than no shot at all.
Yeah.
It's come just a bit further than he ideally wanted, but still fine. Got a choice of reds.
Yeah, we'll come down for the bottom one, as you can see now, but natural angle to just run the cue ball back up the table.
This is a good moment to go ahead for the first time. Get a 5-4 up in a race to 6. Potentially have 2 chances.
Now the simple black ball for Harrison. And like you said, Mark, this to go 5-4 up. 1 away from victory. Especially those ones that give you like a trophy for every time you have an 8-ball finish.
He's done some good venues in Cambridge years ago. He used to play at the Cambridge Snooker Centre. Back in those days, Neil Robertson was based there. They had some good players. That's sadly closed down now, but there's still a couple of venues in the town. Well, obviously, it goes without saying he's got to get this one, because he can't afford to let his opponent back to the table for the frame he needs. It's not the best position. He's going to have to go after the double here. Oh, that's a good shot.
Yeah, great double there from Gilbert. Play the plant now, I suggest, into the right-hand centre. There's his mate Dom Cooney behind as well, looking on.
Yeah, always very supportive, and obviously all 3 of them know each other. Team Blessed, as they call themselves. We haven't seen too much of that. He's just potted all the balls clean today. Haven't yet seen any lucky flicks. Well, you feel this match probably does deserve a deciding frame. Neither of them has done a whole lot wrong.
No, he's guided himself nicely around his finishes, Gilbert. And this is going to make it 5 apiece, and we're going to have a one-frame decider.
Oh, that's a pretty good break.
Well, if that plants straight with those yellows, then he's got a great opportunity here. As long as he can play that plant without the second yellow just nudging into the reds and blocking. I'm not sure if he can. Looking at it, I think there's a slight angle. The second yellow might just rest on the 2 reds, which would mess it up a bit for him.
He's looking pretty close in the
well,
group.
on the other side of the coin, Mike, you could pop the red into the top left-hand corner and drag the cue ball and nudge the other 2 apart at the top, and then they're available. So it's which shot you fancy. Well, he's taking the reds. And he certainly didn't want to play that shot.
No, not for the first time in this match. Just ending up rushing a shot and not playing a great one as a result. So many reds lying around the table. This was one of the worst spots he could have found.
Well, he's having to try and hide the cue ball, try and contain Harrison.
Only time will tell whether it plays to his advantage. Sometimes letting your opponent in to help you tidy the table up isn't a bad thing. It's not like Phil's in a position where he's well placed to go for an immediate clearance. It's currently fairly tight in the Group 8 league table. Sean Sharkey is 5-2 up on Neil Toms, so if he gets one more frame he'll move to 1 win. That would leave 4 players all tied with a single win. Obviously one of these 2 is going to go ahead, so it looks likely that whoever wins this will go top after this match. Right now, this is a moment for our entertainment, not the players looking at the league tables. They're not really going to be too concerned until it gets a bit closer to the business end. Oh, it's spotted
Well.
the red.
Well, that was a safety shot he played there. He's got to put that red over the bag and leave Phil not very much. Instead, he's knocked the red in. Played a good controlled safety there, though, Luke Gilbert. A sort of dejected look from Phil Harrison, because he knows he's pretty much, if he can't pot one out of snooker, he's going to give his younger buddy a little chance of winning a match.
Yeah, you always felt like it wasn't going to be long before the Team Bless nickname came into play. It was a fluked ball which looked like it wasn't necessarily going to make much difference, but it has let him play a better safety than the previous one, so it may turn out to be decisive. What can Phil make from here? Well, he's gone for the pot to the middle and he's got it. So first bit navigated, but still a few problems.
One big one in particular, which is the yellow at the top of the table, stuck behind the red. He wanted to nudge it a bit further than that.
Yeah, right idea and right line. He just needed to get a bit more pace into it. Tricky now because he hasn't got another ball up that end to use to get onto it, and even though there's a bit of space around it, there isn't really a good spot to pot it from. This is one of those situations he's just kind of forced to attack. Well, up until then he was forced to attack. Now he has got a chance if he wants to play a safety, because he can play the yellow that's next to the 8 ball and run the white in tight behind the 8.
Or he can cut the yellow in at the bottom corner and then kick that red and yellow apart at the top.
Yeah, looks like that is what he's doing. Well, the first bit, what's he doing with the yellow?
He's played to get on it. Has he come far enough? I think he might have done, you know. Well, you never can tell with Phil, because he'll pull that face and make that gesture and he can probably see it.
He could potentially make it by applying side, but he doesn't actually really want to play it with left-hand side, because he then brings the red into play.
Well, he ran out of time there, or was running out of time, and he tried to play that shot and screw into the rail and kick the red away, and it's not worked out at all.
Yeah, he had all the options. The shot, a couple of shots ago, he could have played a safety or he could have played a cannon. Decided to play position, which wasn't necessarily the wrong shot, but just came up an inch or two short.
Well, he tried to play a double and yellow off the red into the corner, and obviously hasn't made it. And now Luke Gilbert with an absolutely great chance here of nicking the match by the odd frame.
One for a better chance than this one. You're never sure you're going to get a good chance in the decider.
Well, it looks like Gilbert's going to be the man that's going to stay unbeaten, but I think it's fair to say it shouldn't be too much trouble for Phil Harrison to navigate himself into the last 64. Obviously we'll find out all a little bit later on, but this black for Luke Gilbert.
Good performance from Luke Gilbert. Good performance in truth from Phil Harrison as well. There was never going to be very much between them. Both turned up and played their part in that match. I don't think either of them will be too disappointed. Luke is obviously happy he's now gone top of the league table.